at the firm. And I also specialize in campus recruiting, which is why I get to be here with all of you today.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, we're both super excited to take this time to speak with you guys, help you learn more about our firm, our culture, how you have opportunities with us, and much more. So let's get started. So our agenda, so what are we going to talk about today? Again, we will talk about the firm, our background, our various locations, more about our brand, who our clients are, why you should think about joining our firm, followed by industry skills, that'll help you, be successful in this field of accounting. So about PKF O'Connor Davies, so a little bit more about our firm. We are a full service mid-sized CPA firm, which means that we do basically everything that relates to public accounting. We started in 1891, so we have been around for quite some time. We have 13 offices across the Northeastern region, located across 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, and Rhode Island. Firm-wide, we have more than 800 professionals, led by 140 partners and principals. And I want to bring your attention to the last bullet, which is our brand slogan, "No greater value." We'll talk a little bit more about value and what that means for both our clients and our colleagues, but you'll see that come up often when it comes to our brand and when we talk about it. For our presence, so a little bit more about our 13 office locations. We have one in Bethesda, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. We actually have 5 in New York, one in Harrison, which is in Westchester, 2 in Newburgh. So if you're looking at that list on the left in orange and you only see one Newburgh location, it means that we actually have 2 there. We also have one in Midtown Manhattan, and we recently acquired a firm out on Long Island in Hauppauge, which we're very excited about. We also have 3 locations in New Jersey, one in Cranford, one in Livingston, one in Wycliffe Lake, where both Ashley and I are located out of. We also have 3 in Connecticut, one in Stamford, one in Shelton, and one in Wethersfield. And we also have an office in Providence, Rhode Island. So as you can see, we're fortunate enough to have a real footprint across the Northeastern region, which allows us to serve our clients, in various industries. And the rest of this slide really just talks about our affiliation with PKF International, which is our national affiliation that we have. PKF International is comprised of approximately 440 firms located in more than 150 countries across the world, which gives us our large firm resources. So when we talk about the mid-sized market, we describe it as having large firm resources, but a smaller firm feel, which has to do a lot with our culture and that family-oriented feel that we're lucky to have, which I'll go into further. And so what makes our firm different? As an accounting student, we know that you're often faced with many questions. Do you want a large firm, a small firm, a mid-sized firm? Do you want to do tax? Do you want to do audit? So there's a lot to think about when choosing where you'd like to work and start your career. So some things that really distinguish PKF O'Connor Davies from our competitors, is our client service excellence. We take a lot of pride in going above and beyond for our clients and exceeding their expectations. Innovation, which means coming up with new ways to solve problems. Our community involvement, as I mentioned, we are community-based, but have that national and international reach through our affiliation with PKF International. We really do have that mid-sized feel. So again, we have those large firm resources, but still have that smaller firm feel. So it's really that family-oriented feel, we like to call it. So your coworkers, your manager, the leadership team very well. You can often see them around the office. You really do have exposure to a wide range of specialty areas here at this firm. If you have an interest in a specific industry, then you have the opportunity to explore that here along with other industries as well that you could be interested in working with. You're not pigeonholed here and are not stuck in one specific area for the rest of your career here. You really have the opportunity to move around and explore different clients and different areas of the firm, which is something that definitely sets us apart. Our interaction with partners, managers, and business leaders. So again, you really do have the opportunity to interact with our partners, our managers and business leaders. They will oftentimes be your day-to-day contacts that you can create those great relationships with. And lastly, we have an open door policy here. It's one thing to have an open door policy, but another to have your leadership team really encourage it. It's very normal here for you to walk into anybody's office, ask questions, set up meetings, just to express any concerns or have a conversation. Again, like communication is very open here, which is really great. So why PKF O'Connor Davies? There's a number of reasons why, but innovation will be encouraged. Career development will be nurtured, and employees are recognized as our most valuable assets. You really have the opportunity here to own your career and make an impact. You are an employee with tons of potential and growth opportunities. So that's a huge difference that really sets us apart. And again, that really ties into the amazing culture we have here. It's really up to you here to find those opportunities and grow. You just have to kind of go and seek it. So in the firm perks, we have to go over our firm perks because that's one of the best parts. There are so many wonderful things about working here, but here's just a few that I'd like to mention to you guys. We have a dress for your day policy. So in terms of your attire and what you can wear, it's actually really up to you depending on what you want to wear each day. It kind of just depends on what the day is looking like. So there is an expectation that if you're meeting with clients, then you would dress accordingly in business professional attire. But if you're just going into the office to get some work done, then by all means, feel free to wear jeans and just a little more comfortable. We also have summer and December Fridays. So between Memorial Day and Labor Day, you can end work at 2 p.m. on Fridays and get your weekend start early, as long as you've met your client deliverables. And the same thing kind of goes for the month of December as well. As long as you're on track to meet any deliverables, feel free to log off early, catch up on some holiday shopping, or spend some extra time with family during the busy time of year. We have several busy season initiatives for our professionals. So when we were in the office, we did a lot of awesome events like massage days, busy season care packages, catered luncheons. But currently with the more virtual remote setting, we're doing a lot of fun activities like bingo and trivia. It's a great way just to connect with your your fellow colleagues and engage and just distress a little bit, because we understand as a firm that it's a very busy time for our professionals. We have several diversity initiatives and women's initiative. Actually, a month ago or so, we celebrated on International Women's Day as a firm, where we had some of our colleagues, speak and give actually some awards to our outstanding female professionals. As a firm, we are dedicated to having an inclusive and diverse work environment. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in those initiatives. We're also involved with various community service organizations, which is a great way to give back to our local communities. And fortunately, that hasn't stopped during the pandemic. In fact, we're still finding so many different ways to give back to, to community service and organizational efforts, even if it's not face-to-face. We also have the How's It Going survey, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a one-question survey we send out to our colleagues, and that asks how's it going. It's a way for our colleagues to help with the colleague experience, and just for a way to kind of give the firm any feedback or suggestions that you might have. And the fun fact is actually that the December Fridays initiative that I mentioned is actually something that came out of the How's It Going survey. So someone suggested that during the busy holiday season, that they thought it would be great to get out into a flock on Fridays. And sure enough, our leadership team read that and loved the idea and implemented it shortly after. So that really shows you that our leadership team really does take into consideration, the thoughts and opinions of others. We really are, a team, and everyone's voice matters. And finally, we have our mentorship program, which is when you start your career here, you are assigned to a career mentor who would be a key contact in working with you to not only making sure you're adjusting smoothly to your role here, but also that you're reaching, the goals that, you were set to have. This would be someone who's usually a manager level or above. It's really nice knowing that you have a direct contact to go to here, for any questions. It definitely helps with the smoother transition and getting you acclimated, which is really nice. So this is what I like to call our brag slide. And as you can see, we have been recognized for many different things, but I want to bring your attention to the first bullet. We were actually ranked #1 accounting internship by the Vol in 2020, and that does include the Big Four firms as well. We were also ranked #1 for promotion policies. So as I've mentioned before, you really have the opportunity to grow here at PKF O'Connor Davies. All of these accolades really demonstrate that we are an employer of choice. So as I mentioned before, we are a full service CPA firm. So when I talk about our comprehensive services and support areas, these are them. The first one is accounting and insurance. The second is tax compliance and planning. The third one is family office services. And the last one is business advisory solutions. And just to go into this with a little more depth, we do have specialty practice areas that I mentioned, also known as industries. And the great news is that if you're interested in a certain area of public accounting, chances are that we probably have clients, in that industry here at PKF O'Connor Davies. So this isn't every single industry that we have clients in, but definitely gives you a better understanding of the many different industries that you can get involved in and can specialize in when it comes to working with clients. So as I mentioned, there's no reason to be pigeonholed here. You have the opportunity to really explore different industries here, which is very exciting. Our commitment to your growth, we understand that students really want the opportunity to grow in their careers, and that's something we take very seriously here. We have a variety of robust training programs we offer, like we offer a formal mentorship program that I've mentioned, among many other things. Our commitment is to really help you as a colleague, reach your career goals. And so that includes a lot of things, practical on-the-job training and formal training, one-on-one development with opportunities with leadership, multiple career paths to fit your personal definition of success. And again, that flexibility to move across functions. We want to give you the opportunity and the exposure to find your niche here and kind of see where you self, growing as a professional in the future here at BKF O'Connor Davies. Investing in your future. So again, we do this through a variety of mediums. And just to mention a few, we have that career advisor program that I mentioned. We also have the CPA review program through our partnerships with Becker, Roger U World, and Wiley to provide you with study materials so you can pass 4 parts of the CPA exam that I'm sure you're all looking forward to. We also have tuition reimbursement. So if you're interested in going back for a certificate or a master's program, we'll help you with those costs. We also have a bonus program. So if you go above and beyond, also we have bonus eligibility when it comes to passing CPA, which is really cool. We also have comprehensive training and continuing professional education opportunities. So again, you can really continue to grow and develop your skills in a variety of ways. We're really committed to employee growth here and helping you achieve your personal goals as well. More responsibility sooner. So as mentioned, top corporate officers and business owners will likely be your regular contacts here. You have exposure to key decision makers, which gives you greater responsibility early on in your career. Exposure to multiple areas of organizations, and rate of progress will be driven by your desire and accomplishments. Career trajectory. So this is the pathway that individuals usually take when they start their career here. So normally you would start out as staff or associate, then go to a senior associate, then supervisor, then manager, which you do need to have your CPA for, then to senior manager, to principal, and then partner. And actually, fun fact, we do have colleagues here who start out as staff associates and have worked their way up to partners. So definitely demonstrates our commitment to employee growth and how people have wanted to stay with the firm for that long and eventually become partners, which is really exciting. The next couple of slides are just a way to give you an insight into the culture of our firm and the out of ordinary things that you get to do here and all the fun that you can have here. This is our annual picnic that we're hoping to have again soon. It starts with a big town hall meeting where our managing partners and leadership teams speak to us about the firm, any trends and predictions for the future, just to keep the firm informed. This is also then followed by a company picnic where all 13 offices get to come together. So it's a super fun time for all of us to actually be in person together and not just seeing each other on a screen or over email. It's also things do get a little competitive. So as you can see, I want to bring your attention to the picture in the middle. There is a trophy to be won. So do things get competitive and it's a lot of fun. This is some other firm activities that we've had. So things like softball leagues, we've done team building rope courses. And actually every summer we participate in the JP Morgan 5K race in Central Park. And what's really cool about this event is actually that JP Morgan created an app for participants to do the race at home this past summer, in their own area, since we couldn't all do it together in person. Internship events, here's some other events I showed you, like baseball games. We also have Intern Appreciation Day. So again, a lot of great ways for you to not only interact with colleagues, but also your fellow interns as well. We really are dedicated to creating a really engaging and exciting environment, during your time as an intern here. So you're not just sitting at a desk, 9 to 5. There's so many other ways to get involved and have fun outside of the office as well. Here's some other days. Again, we actually have an intern day of service. So on the top left, you can see it's a great way to give back. Like as I mentioned, we're super dedicated to various community service organizations, and that's something that even our interns have the opportunity to be involved in. Other ways that PKF O'Connor Davies has given back to the community has been through organizations like Project Linus, where we made blankets. We also participated in Relay for Life, Feeding Westchester, and Bowling for a Cause. Activities around the office. So as I mentioned, we have those busy season initiatives. Here are some other fun events that we do around the office. The bottom left picture is actually our culture potluck that we do, where everyone can bring a dish from their heritage. It's a really great way to promote our inclusive environment and learn more about our colleagues. If you're into any sports like football or baseball, we've had Super Bowl lunches and opening day lunches. So, really, we find a lot of different ways to engage and have fun luncheons and snacks for and desserts. So, if there's anything that you don't see that you would love to have a celebration for, I'm sure the firm would be open to having some lunches or fun events for that as well. Here's some additional pictures from activities that we've had. So we've had like a Thanksgiving feast. We've had a Halloween contest where people have dressed up in costume, and we've also had ice cream socials during the summer. And then there's actually Promotion Day, which is one of our really great initiatives. It's something here that hard work and promotions are really celebrated. It's a great way for us to acknowledge employees for their hard work here. So one day each year, we actually celebrate everyone who gets promoted with a breakfast or lunch, and everyone who has received a promotion gets a sign and the balloon that they can hang at their desk. So that way, when people walk by, they get to see you're promoted and acknowledge it and congratulate you. It's something that we're really proud of when our colleagues get promoted. So it's something we want to advocate, on behalf of those colleagues. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions before we hand it off to Ashley for the next part of the presentation? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions before we continue.
I do have a question. How many partners does PKF have right now?
That's a good question. So I know at the beginning, Ashley, right, we have like 800 professionals led by, I want to say like 140 partners.
Yeah, give or take 140 with the couple mergers that we've had recently. It might be slightly higher, but ballpark around 140.
Yeah, so as you can see, our firms, like we mentioned, like we recently acquired that from Long Island, so we're continuing to grow, which is something we're very excited about.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, I'll hand it off to Ashley to cover the next part of our presentation.
Thank you, Jacob. All right, so we're going to be going over some industry skills. Jacob, if you could just stop sharing so I can share.
Yes. Actually, okay, stop sharing. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's on your other screen.
Yes, I was good. Thank you.
Got you. So like I said, we're going to be discussing industry skills and some things that you can use to help you stand out. Let me share my screen with you all. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. Yeah, so like I said, we're going to be discussing some industry skills and some things that can help you stand out as an accounting student in the industry. So first, I want to discuss hard skills versus soft skills. Is everyone aware of what hard skills and soft skill is? And does anyone want to share what they think hard skill is and a short soft skill is? Feel free to unmute yourself. I don't bite. No one knows.
Hard skills would be like the technical skills, and then soft skills would be like communications.
Exactly. Thank you, Quinn. So exactly as Quinn said, here you can see in this graphic, hard skills are more of the subject matter, the technical expertise, the measurable abilities, such as like writing, reading, math, how to use certain programs on your computer. And then in contrast, soft skills include more of communication, listening, the ability to get along with other people, collaborating, fostering an environment for innovation and problem solving. So both of these skills are equally as important in any field, especially in public accounting. So some hard skills that will help you stand out is internship experience. Although this isn't necessary, as a recruiter, it's definitely really nice when someone applies for a entry-level opportunity to see that they've had some hands-on experience, right? Because I'll already know that they've had a busy season under their belt, so they know what that's like, and they know that public accounting is where they want to be. In addition, getting that CPA also really helps you stand out. It lets us know that you have taken the time to really craft your work and really take the time to get that extra certification that we know is pretty hard to achieve. And like Jacob said earlier, we do a lot of things here at the firm to help that process to be as easy as possible. We offer CPA review materials at no cost to you from the moment you accept the full-time offer here. So let's say you would accept an offer with us today, but you don't start until August. You can start receiving those materials from us today. So maybe you can already have 1 or 2 parts done by the time you start with us. In addition to that, we give you a generous bonus upon completing all 4 parts, and we also reimburse you for the cost of all 4 parts of the exam. So really do everything we can to make that process as easy as possible for you. In addition, having experience using Microsoft Excel and or QuickBooks or any kind of tax or audit or accounting software will also help you stand out. Even if you haven't had an internship experience where you've had the opportunity to use some of that software, I know that there's plenty of online learning programs such as LinkedIn Learning and other platforms where you can receive certifications and things like Microsoft Excel and QuickBooks and etc. So I would encourage you to take advantage of those when you have some downtime, maybe in the summer if you're not taking any summer classes, or maybe over one of your breaks, so you can put that on your resume. That's also something that we really like to see. And also continuous learning, continuing to go above and beyond as far as your learning goes. So like getting your CPA or getting any of those certifications and those softwares, or participating in case competitions, or participating in leadership days, anything to enhance your learning as far as the public accounting industry goes is definitely something that you want to do. So some soft skills to make you stand out. Your communication skills. I cannot emphasize enough how important this is, not only when you're going on an interview or maybe you have a phone screening, but also when you're corresponding via email. You always want to make sure that you have an introduction, that you proofread for any typos, make sure that you have a sign off. And it's always important to err on the side of formality, whether that be calling them by their first name. So instead of calling someone Dan, make sure you call them Daniel. Maybe even call them Miss Clark if that's their name. You always want to err on being more formal until you get to know someone. It shows that you have a level of professionalism, and that's very impressive in a college age student. In addition, leadership skills. So, maybe participating in something like our Leaders of Tomorrow program, or maybe in your various experiences in school and extracurriculars, really making sure that you have obtained some kind of leadership in any of those areas is also something we like to see. Client service skills, this is also very important, especially if you would like to go into the audit side of public accounting, because that is a more client-facing role. And something I often like to tell students is those jobs that you have over the summer, maybe at like a retail store, or maybe you're a lifeguard, or maybe you work at a restaurant. Those skills are actually really helpful when you enter the accounting industry. So when you're going on those interviews and when you're writing your resume, make sure to highlight those, because it's in those experiences where you really learn how to deal with people. And like I said, that's a huge part of public accounting, as we service clients. So that's another important soft skill to have. And lastly, self-motivation, having that drive in you to really want to do better and achieve more, I think is also something really important that we'd like to see. So again, a question I often get from students is, what do we look for when considering full-time and intern hires? So we're looking for affiliations with accounting clubs and societies such as Beta Alpha Psi, which you are all a part of, so you can already check that off the list. Relevant internship experience, like I said before, it's not necessary for an entry-level role, but it's definitely something nice to have on your resume. And it's nice to have that experience as well. A strong academic background is very important as well, but we actually recently removed our 3.0 GPA requirement in an effort to be more inclusive and understanding of people's backgrounds and situations. And lastly, any extracurricular activities. So whether that be volunteering, whether that be, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're involved in Greek life, maybe you volunteer at your local church, whatever, piques your interest. We just like to see that you're involved in stuff outside of your schoolwork. So another thing that would really help you stand out is having a good resume. This is crucial because when you're applying for jobs, we don't know who you are outside of that piece of paper. So that piece of paper is really speaking for you as a person when you're applying to those internships and those entry-level roles. So these are the 4 main sections that an entry-level / student resume should have. You should have an objective, which is a targeted statement that clearly states the type of job you're seeking. This is the part of the resume that you might have to tweak every now and then, depending on the type of job you're applying for. You always want to look that over before you hit that submit button to a job to make sure that, the objective statement is clearly tailored towards that job you're applying to. Next would be your education. So you want to include any degrees you have, your expected date of completion if you haven't completed your degree yet, any relevant coursework, any honors and awards you might have received, and definitely make sure to describe your progress towards getting your 150 credits. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you want to go into public accounting, it makes our lives so much easier as recruiters to tell whether you'd be eligible for an entry-level opportunity or not. Next would be your experience. So when you think about experience, you want to think about it in terms of experience and not in employment or work history. So make sure to include any of those extracurriculars that you're involved in if they would help pertain to the job. Even though it might not technically have been work, it's definitely good and adds to your resume, your portfolio. And lastly, any additional categories. So leadership, professional memberships. So definitely want to put Beta Alpha Psi on your resume, affiliations with accounting clubs and societies, computer skills, hobbies, and interests. Make sure to steer clear of any hobbies and interests that can be considered controversial, but definitely feel free to throw in there if you, you like to golf, you like to sing, you like to go hiking, anything like that. So again, continuing with your resume, so some resume do's. Do think of your resume as an ad for your qualifications, not as an autobiography. I don't need to know everything about you. I don't need to know about when you broke your arm or when you lost your first tooth. I don't need to know any of that. Just make sure all the information on there is relevant to the job and to your professional persona. Make sure to use reverse chronology in your education and experience. So your most recent experience or education should be at the top. And your first experience or degree should be at the bottom. Do look at other resumes to see how they're written. Actually, a couple slides later from now, I'm going to share with you an example of a resume from a student that I know who's an accounting student that I think is a good example for you guys to see. Make sure you keep your resume to 1 page. Being that you're still in school, you don't have a lot of experience where it should be more than 1 page. So do make sure you keep it to 1 page, but at the same time, make sure to not make your font any smaller than 10. And also make sure that you don't make your margins any smaller than a 1/2 inch. Do keep your fonts and formats simple. I know it can be super tempting to want to use those colorful templates, but as an accounting major, it just not necessary. Maybe if you have a friend in graphic design or marketing, it would pertain more to them. But for our purposes, keep it simple, keep it black and white, keep it in a simple font like Times New Roman. Make sure you proofread, proofread, proofread. I cannot emphasize how important this is to you. Jacob can attest to this. Sometimes when people apply to jobs, they mess up their graduation date, or they, forget to include something, and it just shows that you don't have attention to detail if you have one of those mistakes in your resume. And I really encourage you guys to have your resume reviewed by your school's career center. Please take advantage of that while you're in school. That's something that I wish I did when I was in school, but I was too cool to go to the career center. But once you graduate, that's actually a service that you have to pay out of your pocket for. Whereas right now it's included in your tuition, so definitely take advantage of that. So some resume don'ts. Don't make your reader dig for information. Don't tell everything that you've ever done. If it's something from high school that really pertains to the job and you think it adds to your resume, sure, include it. But I would include everything from your pre-college career. Don't use complete sentences. Make sure your bullet points are bullet points. Don't include any personal information such as age, race, marital status, or health status, as those are protected classes. Don't make your resume too dense or too busy. Like I said before, don't use a font smaller than 10. I don't want to be squinting trying to read your resume. And make sure you don't use any fancy fonts. We want to make sure it's easy to read. So some finishing touches: when you're done with your resume and you're looking it over, make sure you proofread, have someone look it over for you, like the Career Development Center. Make sure you save it as a PDF, not as a Word document, because a Word document can be edited. And make sure to keep the information current. I highly encourage you to I would say 2 to 3 months, just check back to your resume and make sure that the information is current and up to date. So this is an example of a good resume that I wanted to show you guys. I don't really think you can see it from this screenshot, so I'm going to actually share it with you. I just need to pull it up. Okay, here we go. Let's drag it over here. All right, can everyone see my screen? Yes,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Right, so he has his most current, up-to-date expected graduation date. He has his GPA. If your GPA is above a 3, I highly encourage you to put it on there. If it's not, definitely I would encourage you to leave it off. He listed where he went to high school, which is good. And then he listed his most recent experience here, his prior experience here. Like I said before, I highly encourage you to put those customer service oriented jobs on your resume. They completely pertain to a job in corporate America, because not only are you going to be servicing clients, especially if you're in audit, you're also going to have to get along with your team and your colleagues, and having experience working with customers shows that you'd be able to do that. And then if we go down here, he shows his various leadership experiences. So he is in the Society of Accounting Association at Binghamton. He participated in a case competition, and he is affiliated with his local church. And then right down here, we have his technical skills, language. This is also where you could include any hobbies or interests you might have. And also notice that he kept the font simple. It's black and white. The margins are 1/2 inch. It's easy to read. So this is an example of what I would say is a good resume that we'd like to see. Let me go back to the presentation. All right, and then moving along, I found this really great article that is 10 tips for an accounting student, which I'll send in the chat after the presentation. I just thought it was really helpful, and it's by the CPA review company, Roger U World. So it's really geared towards students that are looking to get their CPA. And then here we have the campus recruiting timeline. So Recruiting for public accounting firms is much different than recruiting for any other industry, I would say. And I often find that students aren't aware of the timeline. And because we recruit so far in advance from when you start, I thought this would be helpful to show you. So I'm basing it off of this year. So in August of this year, we will start campus recruiting. We'll start attending career fairs. And then by September to October, we'll start conducting first round interviews. Those are either a phone screen with us, or if we do interviews at your school's campus, then they would be on-campus interviews. Obviously, this year they're going to be virtual, but we call them on-campus interviews. And then should you make it past that round, we'll then have second round interviews, which are known as office interviews, which will again be virtual for this year. And then after that point in time, we will, extend offers, talk about next steps. And then fast forward to January or February through April of the following year, we have our winter tax interns with us for the busy season. And at the same time, during February to April of 2022, we will begin recruiting for our Freshman Pathways program and our Leaders of Tomorrow program. And then June through August of 2022, we'll have our summer interns. And then finally in August and November of 2022, we have 2 entry-level start dates is when our entry-level associates start. So if you can see, we start recruiting for these interns and these entry levels in August of 2021, and they may not start till over a year later. So you just wanna make sure that let's say you're graduating with your 150 credits in 2022, you want to make sure that you start looking for a full-time job this fall. And same thing, if you're looking for an internship for the upcoming winter or summer, you again want to start interviewing and attending career fairs in the fall prior. So now that you know the skills necessary to be a professional in public accounting, and you know the timeline of our opportunities and how we recruit for them, how can you check these available opportunities? So the easiest way is to go to our careers page, which is www.pkfod.com/careers. That's where you'll see our most up-to-date opportunities. And then just some requirements for each role. For a full-time entry level, you must have your 150 credits because when we do extend entry level full-time offers, it's with the mutual understanding that you will go for your CPA. For internships, you need to be junior level or above. For our Leaders of Tomorrow program, we typically gear towards sophomores and juniors. That's not to say we haven't had some seniors and even graduate students participate in the past, but it does kind of serve as a feeder into our internship program, which is why it's geared more towards sophomores and juniors. And then the last program down here, we're super excited to be launching it this year. It's the Freshman Pathways program, and hence the name. You have to be a freshman to participate. And what's really cool about this program is it's open to any business majors, even people majoring in IT and cybersecurity. We really just want to give freshmen the opportunity to learn more about public accounting and the business, corporate America world as a whole. This is the only program listed here that we're still actively recruiting for. The deadline is April 30th. So if you know of any freshmen, or if there's any freshmen on the call that would be interested in attending, I encourage you to go to our careers page and apply. Does anyone have any questions about industry skills, our opportunities, or anything that Jacob discussed earlier? No? Okay. Well, if you think of any that you can't or don't want to mention right now, feel free to email myself or Jacob. Our emails are here. You can also feel free to add us on LinkedIn. Those are the easiest ways to get in contact with us.
Anyone, BAP, are there any questions? We do have a diverse membership this semester, from freshmen to a lot of seniors and even graduates. And a lot of us are actually half and half balanced of finance and both finance and accounting. So is there like any, I know it's an accounting firm, but as PKF being a mid-sized firm, are you guys also like doing or have an opportunity for finance students or no?
We do, it's just not on as an annual basis, I would say. Actually, right now, Jacob's recruiting for a financial accounting intern to work in our finance department. So that would be an opportunity. The only thing is the position is for Harrison, New York, which is located in Westchester County. And it's going to be an all year round internship part-time. And I assume most of you are from New Jersey, if I had to guess. So that would just be the one little issue. But we do from time to time recruit for different finance positions, yes.
I have a question too. Would you say most of the interns you take on are for maybe the summer or possibly the fall, or for mostly busy season, or when you take on the most interns?
Yeah, good question. So we have 2 internship programs, like I mentioned, one in the winter, which runs from either January or February till the tax deadline. Most of them are actually offboarding this Friday. Some of them are extended because the deadline was extended. And then we have the summer internship program, which runs from mid-June to mid-August. That being said, we have many more interns during busy season, as it's our busiest time of the year and it's kind of all hands on deck when we really need their help. Whereas over the summer, we do need the interns' help, but not to the level that we do during busy season.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else have questions? All right, I put the link to that top 10 tips for accounting students in the chat. And I also just put in the link for the Freshman Pathways program if anyone is interested and would like to apply.
Thank you so much for being here at BAP. We are really, really honored to have you guys visit us and talk to us. We really learned a lot, especially, you know, how the firm is, what it's like, the culture of PKF, and also the skills that we need to learn. I know a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and also juniors are really applying really, really hard, tweaking their resumes every now and then, and we do encourage for them to check with our with Pat and Mary for their resumes. So yeah, we are very excited to see you guys next fall recruiting again with us. Hopefully we'll have a lot of students from FDU who will get hired for internship next year. We are very excited and thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Quinn. We will see you guys in the fall. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us and hear more about our firm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank you,
Ashley and
everyone.
Jacob.
Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.